Hi, everybody. Just want to give you a little bit of an update on this week and what to look for. Our topics for this week, we are in week 7, and so you will see that the topics I'll be covering kind of in the presentation have to do with ethical uses or issues relevant to action research. And then also I will get into a little bit about the quality of research and specifically talking about validity, reliability, and generalizability and what those mean to you. And so I think you'll you'll have a busy week just kind of getting caught up to those, but also, like always, if I look down here on the assignments, keep in mind uh, the keep on working on the literature review. That's really vital and very, very important. And then do note that the research questions, identifying an area of focus, that is due again on Thursday. Thanks all to you for being patient. What I tried to do this semester was really give you some valuable feedback early on those. So sorry, but those took me a little bit longer, kind of studying them and helping with a little bit more editing and so forth as you move forward on that. So I think I have everybody with feedback, at least initial feedback. Now make sure you check your assignment on Thursday, and that's the point where I'd kind of like, okay, this is where you are, and this is pretty firm. Not that, again, you can't tweak as you go, but I think you're at the point now where there's no going back or changing your topic because you're just going to lose a lot of valuable time. So keep that in mind. The new assignment here is on human subjects training, and that is pretty well described in the presentation. But basically, you'll see that there are links down below here on the page that you can go. You need about 30 to 60 minutes to do that, and that is kind of that last outside assignment that I'll make. The rest is really pretty well guaranteed that it all has to do within your project and to keep building that project, okay? So those are the big issues. I wanted to just point out a couple of things. On the class wiki, if you go to the class wiki, I already have it open, so I'll just open mine up. But I have given, if you go to the home page, okay, this is on the home page, there are I've added a little bit of information on the ethical issues. Here's where you can find the ISU policy on the course related, why we don't have to get IRB approval for all of your projects in the class. Here's an actual form on what you would have to do if you did get human subjects. And so I just thought it would be interesting for you to look through that. Obviously, you don't have to fill it out or anything, but notice the questions that are asked and those kinds of things. And then the last thing here is the link to the human subjects training. So there's a link here, and there's also a link on your other page. More importantly, probably, is at the top of here, I'm on the home right now. I've also added a couple of areas of focus statements so that you can kind of see these are two that I would say are really good. If I was grading the project and so forth, when I used the checklist at the end of the semester, these two measured up really well on that checklist. First one is from Carrie Hillman. She's actually now a technology coach in Olwine, but she at the time was a third grade classroom teacher, and so she did hers on writing her third graders using a wiki environment to write. So this is her area focus statement. Again, really good. Notice that she has pulled in some of her research in this focus statement. You're probably not quite ready to do that yet, but keep in mind that you can go back and do that later as you don't have to hand one like that in to me on Thursday, but the one that I get on Thursday should be a little bit closer to these examples maybe than what you've had before. Melissa Schultz, she did an interesting study on the parents of swim team participants. So this is an example of she wasn't in the classroom, but she made it work for her. She's actually now she's in Wisconsin. She kind of has various jobs between kind of the public and the private sector. But this was one that she did kind of related to her daughter's swim team. So again, I think a really good one. Now notice she hasn't pulled literature into this one, but another good example of just a very focused area of focused statement, and really well stated. Then over here again, the research question examples. I took both of these. My formatting keeps changing with this, sorry. The wiki is acting up on me, but basically here are Carrie's. She had 3 research questions that she did look at. And then Melissa, here's her example. She had kind of an overarching question, and then she had 2 specific questions, and those are the ones that she really gathered the data on. So in this example, Carrie did gather data on all 3 of these, and then Melissa gathered data on 2. Now some of you just have 1, and I'm okay with that. Don't worry about that, but I wanted to give you some other examples to kind of keep you thinking about, okay, how do I, where am I, and how do I do this? So what I hope to get from you on, I believe it's on Thursday, yep, on the 27th, that identifying an area of focus, I just want kind of the next version of your research questions and your area of focus. And if you want, you can just build that right into, a Google Doc. It could be a Word document where you've put all those subheadings, and now you've put this information in there too, and then I can just work from that. So all you really have to hand in, if you just hand me in a draft of your project, or if you want to give me a link to a Google Doc, share it with me. However you want to do it is fine with me. I would just like to see them again. I'll go over these pretty quickly. It probably won't give quite as much feedback and stuff. I'll just, I just want to make sure now that you've kind of honed in on a topic and you're moving forward with that. Okay, so I think that's this week. Don't forget to keep up with kind of your reading in the chapters too. I know this is where it gets heavy because you're kind of back to reading in the books and in the textbooks, and I want you to kind of keep reading about your topics so that you're working on that literature review. At this point in time, I think probably your goal would be to start at least drafting out that literature review a little bit. Draft it out, at least have your subheadings. So if you have subheadings that kind of, here's the literature I reviewed in this section, to kind of give the reader a good feel for what's going on in there. Again, do remember that on the wiki there's some examples. I guess I can just go back here. On the wiki there are examples. If I go back home, there's examples of literature reviews here that you can kind of at least get an idea of how those were put together and things. Okay, so I think that is it for the intro for this week. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. But I will get busy very quickly now on your criteria or your critique, and try to get those back to you fairly quickly, a lot quicker than the questions. So hopefully everything's going as planned for you, and we'll talk to you again next week.